Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of
Rating Arizona.
Beers, brought to you by King's Beer and Wine on Central and Thomas in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you guys for stopping by for another episode.
Absolutely. King's Beer and Wine. If you're watching this show, go to King's. Tell them that you watched the show, and they'll give you a beer glass.
Boom.
The Arizona Beer Book glass. Once again, should have one here, but if this is what it would look like. It's a canned glass with the Arizona Beer Book labeling on it. So let them know that you're watching the show, and they'll give that to you for free.
Yeah, just for watching the show and stopping by King's. I mean, who's not going to want to go buy some fantastic beer or try one of the 180, no, it's just 80 beers on tap.
Just 80. It's just 80.
Only. so nuts.
Well, then you got the other side of it, because then you have all the retail. And I think you can, you can do the retail. Bring it over here. They'll put that.
Yeah, they'll open it up for a small little leverage fee, and then pour whatever they have in the tap room. In the bottle shop into the tap room. So pretty cool. Yeah. So for the craft beer lovers' dreams, come to King's. So today we're going to be hitting up a little beer right here. This is a beer out of Simple Machine Brewing Company, located in North Phoenix or South Flagstaff. This is Tap That AZ Hazy, coming in at 8.2% ABV.
48 IBUs.
48 IBUs.
Yeah.
And then it's also coming in, let me grab that from you as I just snatch it from Eric's hands. It's also coming in a half red malt, a little bit over half hops red. So, okay. So
wait, what?
This is, all right. So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Marshall, let's get down and dirty, because I brought this up on one of my tastings of a Simple Machine beer.
I want you to. All right, here's what I'm going to do. This will give people. You run through this, right? You talk about it. Can you talk about what we're looking at?
Sure. So there is a rating system. Okay, there's a rating system on the beer. It is, I don't know, a graph or a chart that you would find in school, and it has a color, it's red. So it says malts, hops, grain, just other stuff like that. And it has it's colored in, right? It's filled in red. And it says body light to full. And then it has a little thing, and it's what does it mean? I would like to think I know a lot about beer. I'm not like a beer genius or beer, but I do know a lot about beer. I brew beer. I taste beer, I do competitions, I do all sorts of stuff like that, and I still have no idea what the freak that means.
Let me see it.
And I want to know because I mean, if you walk into the Simple Machine and you're looking at the beers and you see that and you're like, I don't know if that is supposed to make you want to buy it.
Well, here's what I gauge from it. It's middle of the road when it comes to malt.
Okay,
little more hoppy because the red is a little bit more filled in. Right?
Go.
The body is about the same amount, a little more body than middle of body.
Yep.
And a little lower than middle of color light.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So actually, here's the cool thing about it. I know we're really rambling a lot about it now, but so I would say this. So he's not going to put malt, and he's not going to put 22 SRM, and he's not going to put
those brew.
He's not going to put hops, 18 IBU. He's not going to put, body, medium mouthfeel. Or so. What I'm trying to say is he's basically making it easy for just regular Joe, right?
Yeah.
To buy the beer.
Okay.
So
but that's a good thing.
So that's a good thing. Yeah. Me, beer nerd, wants to know how many IBUs.
Beer nerd.
Yeah, IBU. International bitterness units. It is. I want to know the actual color in SRM, and stuff like that. So, but whatever. Who cares? It makes freaking delicious beer.
Well, here's how I look at it, right? Once no, but that's good though, right? Because somebody that is very knowledgeable, like yourself, you're like, how does that translate into the technical aspect of what I understand, right? Because you understand down to the detail, right? I look at this as like when this is for, it might be like this in video games now, but back in the day in the 90s, we had like, what was the jet ski game where you would be able to jet ski race? But any car game, racing game, the cars had little gauges, right? This one's not as fast, but this one has a better, grip on the curves. That I look at that. That's kind of what I see. Yeah, that's my gauge. Like, you know what? Yeah. So, does that help?
Yes, it does. It does, actually, since I grew up in the 90s. So,
yes, thank you for making that
I really do like, though, that they do put on here that Grain R&D logo.
Yes.
And that they're using Grain R&D, which is a local maltster. So I think that is...
Actually, Grain R&D is a local grain. They grow the grain.
It's grown here. And
we got Sinagua malt, which is right up in the Verde Valley, which is a maltster. Yeah.
Yep. And Sinagua means...
The Nagua. I don't know. What does it mean?
Means without water.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sinagua.
yes. Yeah. Okay.
Sinagua, without water. Not putting them on the spot or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so anyways, let's crack it open.
Excellent, man.
This is the wet rendition of the beer.
I had a really cool idea. I'm like, dude, wonder if there's a brewery that has the name of like the Spanish word for jaguar, right? Jaguar Brewing.
Yeah, like Jaguar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and it's Jaguar.
Yeah.
It's the same word.
Jaguar.
Still sounds like a cool name.
Yeah. So what rendition is this? What is this, issue 3?
No, I think this is like 5
of
maybe?
just the standard. We're not talking not the fruited or adjunct.
So we did one with the prickly pear. Yeah, adjunct. We threw some... I was trying to think of some funny adjunct, but I couldn't. I was going to say rice.
So rice is an adjunct.
No, but it wasn't in rice.
Right.
In
but so it's so
this is like the third or fourth. This is like fourth or fifth rendition of the OG, the straight up.
So this is sounding like this is because immediately had become an extremely popular beer because of not only Tap That AZ, but because Simple Machine makes really good beer.
Yeah.
But that first rendition kind of, I think, reset Hazy IPA in Arizona.
Ooh, I like hearing that.
No, seriously.
And what do you mean?
I mean, as far as the color, the mouthfeel, and the taste on the beer, I think it was completely different than anything out there, and kind of reset my palate, especially for me, my palate for hazy. And I know on the first one, I think I gave it 100.
Yeah,
on my channel, and it's not just because a big fan of Tap That AZ and all that stuff and Simple Machine, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a good beer.
Different,
like just a delicious beer.
Yes, thanks, man. Dude, Marshall is like. Dude, Marshall's the shit, dude. Cheers to Marshall. Absolutely, cheers. Man. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's a cool dude. They're doing just great stuff up there. But yeah, so this is that's cool to hear, man. Like I love more than anything like being different. I'd rather be different than the best. You know what I mean? I'd rather be than being the best at just something that's just kind of, like everybody else does. I'd rather be the best at the only thing that I'm doing. It's true.
So check it out. The beer is a super, super opaque.
Yeah.
It is. Basically, it's orange juice. Like if someone were to walk in right now, they would think we're drinking orange juice on the show.
We're doing mimosa reviews.
It is a mimosa review. Completely opaque, orange juice in color. Very light. I love the color on this beer. It doesn't have any weird dark hues to it. It's just bright and just looks beautiful.
Weird dark hues. Yeah, I've seen that in some hazy IPAs where it's like, that doesn't look right. Yeah. Like weird dark hues is the perfect way to
anything
describe
tinted a little bit darker or even has maybe just a touch of brown in it.
Yeah.
Is a very strong indicator of being oxidized.
Ooh, okay.
So Hazy IPA is a strong candidate for oxidation. Beer does wort does fantastic with a ton of oxygen. Yeast love it to turn it into beer, but once it turns into beer, you don't want oxygen near it. And we're introducing so many hops into these beers, and hops can be oxidized. So you can actually introduce, oxidation in the beer by dry hopping. So it's a super careful process in doing it. So to get a bright orange juice hazy like that, it's not easy to do. We get a dry-by aroma. God damn.
That's good.
Jesus.
And different. There's a little bit different, right?
It's definitely different. And so I'm going to ask you a weird question. Not sure if you know the answer.
Shit, I just drank it, man.
Good. Are they reusing the yeast? Are they farming the yeast on each batch and then reusing it in the next batch?
I don't know. I don't. Well, now there's a gap between, like, we don't go from one batch to then fill the. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's a definitely a period of time,
Right.
maybe a month or two. Sometimes.
So you could wrangle yeast and you
Okay.
could keep them alive.
Okay.
And well.
I don't know. We should ask Marshall.
And because there's a character of yeast aroma that is kind of unmistakable. You could almost line this up now with other beers. If I were to take a Wrenhouse beer and do an aroma test, I would know it's a Wrenhouse beer.
Yeah.
Pueblo Vida, same thing. I know it's a Pueblo Vida beer.
Yeah.
So now it's becoming to the point where you're like, okay, this is a simple machine beer.
I would assume that he does that. So I should ask him that. Do you harvest the yeast from batch to batch of Tap That Hazy?
The hop character in this is funky. It is like
It is.
a funky mix of hops. Nothing like you would. It's not in the direction of tropical. It's not in the direction of fruity. It's like
Southwest.
yeah, it's
Southwest.
It's
Well-
almost like the aroma is almost like a prickly pear, without prickly pear being in it.
You know what? That's so interesting you say that, because so when I approached Marshall with this idea, I had kind of a general idea of, like, dude, I want to use Arizona ingredients. I want this to be like an Arizona themed beer, something Southwest, some taste of the Southwest. So initially thought of, grain R&D with Sonora and White Wheat, or some of the stuff that they do. But then I knew about Neo Mexicano hops, right? The hops that grow. I think there's two types of wild hops in the U.S., right? A Neo Mexicano and then something maybe up north. But anyways, Neo Mexicano is that wild hop that grows in the Southwest. So I'm like, dude, I would love to, like, what would that do to the beer? He's like, dude, it'd be really interesting. Like, I don't know what it would do. So we found these hops called Zappa. So they were found on the property of Frank Zappa in Frank Zappa's family in New Mexico.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this is it's a wild hop that they basically were able to, wrangle, harvest, and be able to reproduce on a scale that then brewers could use it. So he used Zappa and Cashmere hops, but the Zappa is what gives you the taste of Southwest.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said, has that kind of prickly pear aroma. It even has, so my grandma used to always do nopales. She would make nopales with like cactus. She would actually.
Cactus pads, right?
Yeah, the little cactus pads. She would go in the backyard, cut them off, clean them, and then she would cook them with red chili.
Ooh.
So just do red chili, and then you could do eggs or something like that with it.
Like a pepper.
So
Kinda, yeah.
And if you taste that fresh, it tastes like green apple, but the aroma is like earthy, slight, kind of like prickly pear, sweet, and this is that kind of reminds me of that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. It brings up a memory.
It really
like
does.
that.
Yeah, it really does on the drive-by. And
Well,
I'm gonna get a taste. I mean, you've been drinking it, so I'm gonna get a taste on it because I'm like, I'm drooling over here.
It's so good, dude. So I'll say this real quick while you're enjoying that. You mentioned prickly pear. So the last rendition that we did was a prickly pear version. It was cool. We used, I can't think of it off the top of my Sherry's Desert Harvest in Tucson, who actually goes and gets the prickly pears. And dude, we got like 2 buckets full of prickly pear juice. And so Marshall actually cut down the Zappa hops in that batch because he knew the prickly pear was going to be earthy as well. Yeah. He's like, it was going to be too much to have the full dose of Zappa and the prickly pear. So, and then once again, he goes back to this batch after the prickly pear and just tighten this up even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So taste-wise. So
if I could take this off and then just like drop it, this mic.
You could.
No.
But when we get famous, we'll be like rock stars and break
it's
our shit.
Definitely a mic drop. It's the crazy part about this particular beer is, first of all, it's 8.2% ABV.
Oh, yes.
And you don't get ABV out of it at all. It's just like the mouthfeel, first of all, is spot on for the beer. So it has a really amazing, smooth, creamy. It's like if you're flying in the clouds and you can open up your mouth and like eat the clouds. It's like super cloudy, and fluffy mouthfeel on it. So, that mouthfeel really helps those hops just kind of burst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a wild hop ride in your mouth.
Ooh, in your mouth.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, guys, if you have not tried any of these this one, I thoroughly enjoyed the first rendition. I did get the prickly pear, but I'm not going to mention what I thought about that one. This is like, holy crap.
Yeah. Nice, man.
It's holy crap good. Yeah, I don't even
10?
know where to go.
Give us a 10.
Yeah.
You can if you want to.
No, and again, I think these, honestly, Marshall, I think this particular beer is kind of resetting Hazy IPA in Arizona.
I like hearing that.
I think it is.
Really
I think
cool.
it's like kind of switching the bar. Not sure formula wise what you're doing as far as base malts and stuff, but grain R&D. So the beer is going to change from batch to batch. It's going to get different for you every time because I know, probably the consistency in the grains is going to change on you and the hops and stuff like that. But, man, keep up the great work because this is fantastic.
Marshall, good job, buddy. I'm at a 10 too. I mean, I can't not give it a 10. I mean, even if I wasn't involved in it, I would give it a 10.
Yeah, no,
maybe
absolutely.
a 9.8 if I wasn't involved, but not 10. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think fantastic beer. If you're in the area of Kings, if you're if you're not in the area of Kings, come down to Kings, or if you live in South Flagstaff, stop by Simple Machine Brewing Company.
7th Avenue, right across from Deer Valley Airport.
Deer Valley Airport.
Cool spot.
7th.
Yep.
Really, really cool spot. Swing by, pick up some Tap That Hazy if you haven't seen it anywhere. Hit up Simple Machine or Kings for sure. So, gosh, great job, guys.
Glad you like it, man.
Easy 10. Thanks for watching, guys, and please support and comment below. Cheers.
Cheers.